Jeez.
Stella. Stella's fired up.
Stella is fired up.
She's ready for the 2021 season.
Welcome, everybody, to Row 60, a Georgia football podcast. My name is Clark Gaines. Alongside of me here is my partner in crime, Adam Thornton, also my cousin. We are excited. We're here. We're ready.
Oh, yeah, we're here. We're here. Man, it's a dream, Clark.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
We have talked about this for years, truly. Starting a podcast and talking about Georgia football, in which we both love. I mean, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who loves Georgia football more than Adam or I. So
that's exactly right, Clark. I mean, just the passion that we've had since we were really young, and the blessing that it's been to grow up going to Sanford Stadium, going on the road to watch these teams play, and the memories you have with family and friends, just they can't be replicated. You know, it's just something that you put in your memory bank and you have forever. And when you look back on it, it just makes you just happy and thankful for the experience and makes you crave for more.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's why we're doing this right now. Because we love it and we love talking about it.
That's right. And you know what? I think college football is a healthy obsession.
Oh,
we may obsess about it a little too much at times, but you know, there's obviously, and we love to talk to our moms about this and our parents, that, hey, you know, we could be involved in much worse things than Georgia football.
That's right. That's right. That's 100% right.
Yeah. But so, Adam, let's talk about the podcast itself, maybe the logistics of it, what our listeners, the few that are probably listening, what they can expect in the future as far as the show goes. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to have each week one podcast available where we recap the game beforehand, and then we kind of preview the game upcoming. Break it down, you know, our opinions on it, maybe a score prediction, all the fun stuff. So, and we've got a lot of other special things hopefully in the works later down the road. But for right now, that's just that's the plan. And, you know, I'm excited about it.
Oh, it is exciting. And we've already discussed several things, several ideas we have, several audience interaction stuff that we want to have. Incorporate that in the future. And it's going to be a very special thing. And that just leads me to talk about what's going to set this podcast apart from other Georgia football podcasts, other college football podcasts. Right. And I'll tell you this, Clark, and we've discussed this. And what I want to bring with this experience is we're not sports writers. We're not journalists.
Yep.
And we're definitely not former Division I or Georgia football players whatsoever.
No.
So what this is going to be is something from a fan's perspective.
Right.
An average Joe who loves the Dogs, who lives for Saturdays in the fall, and loves being with the brothers and sisters in Sanford Stadium and everywhere else, just getting fired up for the Dogs. And one common thing we have is we love the Dogs. We love Georgia football.
We do.
And that's what we want to bring with this podcast is the energy and the enthusiasm of it. You know, we're going to have red and black glasses on. We can't help it. I mean, we're going to be biased towards Georgia when we're breaking down the X's and O's of a game, but we'll be realistic in the same sense. We're going to use football IQ in it.
Yep.
But, hey, Clark, I mean, I'm going to be honest. If I'm going to let my feelings be known about Dad.
As you should.
I'm going to let my feelings be known about Dabo Swinney.
Yep.
And Tennessee football, the dumpster fire it is. We're going to celebrate that. We're going to celebrate this stuff.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about how much we love Kirby Smart.
That's right.
And we're thankful that we're Georgia Bulldogs and that this program is where it is right now.
Agreed.
And that's what's exciting about it. Man, it feels good to go into the 2021 football season knowing that your team is competitive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, imagine, golly, what if we were in Knoxville, Tennessee doing this right now? I mean, it would be hard to find stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean.
You know,
good gosh. No, I agree. I'm right there with you. So, yeah, I mean, I think eventually we're going to get this thing off the ground and running, and it's going to be good. And hopefully, you know, and let me clarify here. We're not the most poetic people. We're not.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, we're going to have our grammatical errors and, you know, debacles, but
that's right.
But just stick with us. We're going to bring some energy to each podcast. You know, we're already fired up about the season, but you wait till 2 more episodes from now when we start talking about Georgia Clemson. I mean, it's going to be a podcast.
That's when we're going to bring it. even more. I mean, we're just ramping up right now, getting a good warm up in it. And one thing about this podcast that I want the listeners to understand and know with we're going to talk about football.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been listening to a lot of the SEC media days, I don't know, broadcasts right now, and I want to hear football. I want to hear these coaches talk about what kind of team they're going to have, more so, what players they have coming back, the excitement of coming back into SEC stadiums at full capacity instead of just some of the other stuff that's taking that attention away right now.
Yeah.
And what we're going to bring on this show is going to be an escape from everybody's just everyday life for an hour or so each week or whenever we broadcast this, that you can get lost in Georgia football and hear our opinion on it. And we are going to incorporate here eventually, once we get stuff figured out, that we want to hear everybody else's opinion on it too.
That's right. Yeah, hopefully we can get some call-ins and that kind of thing. Whoops, I just adjusted the audio level there.
Oh, yeah, sounds good.
But, yeah, hopefully we can get some people calling in and leaving some voicemails. We want to interact with y'all. Right. I can assure you we are not doing this for money or publicity or whatever, although we will probably advertise my business. I'm sorry. You got to do it. But it is free advertising. It's good.
That's right.
Good marketing, I guess. So, but truly we are doing this because we want to, because we are just that excited about freaking Georgia football. And that's all I got to say.
Well, I got to have another platform because I think my wife gets tired of me at times just rambling about
God
football,
bless them.
breaking down the depth chart and, just randomly saying, golly, that Missouri game coming up after Florida, that's going to be a trap game. I mean, I'm thinking about that stuff. So you got to have a platform to let it out.
That's right.
People hear about it.
Right. I mean, that's why you have the dog vent. But there's something to, talking about it, hashing it out in person, because you can, like I said, you can go on the dog vent, you can go on social media, you can get anybody and everybody's opinion about Georgia football online. But I just like, talking like this.
Yes.
And I like a good conversation about it. So
talking to like-minded people about stuff like this is good, and feeding off each other's energy and whatnot. And that's what it's going to be about. This is going to be a high-energy podcast.
It will.
One thing about it is we're not going to sit here and just talk. We're going to let our emotions come out.
Yes.
And we're going to say what needs to be said.
Absolutely. Agree.
About every topic. No holding back. We're going to just what needs to be put out there is going to be put out there about Georgia football, college football, just in general. It's going to be covered.
Oh, yeah.
Going to be covered.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited about it. I mean, we got a lot to talk about, especially about this season. We are going to kind of break this up a little bit. This is our introductory podcast, our welcome podcast, if you will. So we're going to have some more stuff pumping out, especially about the 2021 season here in the future. But let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's talk about ourselves. I think it's important to introduce who we are for anybody who may not know us. Most of y'all hopefully do. But if you don't, let's talk about who we are, kind of where we're from. Let's start with this question, actually.
All right.
I think this is a good one. What is your first memory of Georgia football? Like when you think of Georgia football, what was the first thing you remember about it?
I tell you where I want to go with this question is my first game was Auburn 2001. And for people who remember that game, Rick's first year, bad clock management at the very end, and we let a game get away from us that we should have won. Yeah. But the one I want to touch base on, Clark, is I remember at 9 years old, and this is kind of really when it hit me that this is special. This football team means a lot to people in this state.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to January 1st, 2003 in the Marriott Hotel lobby in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Coach Rick's second year just came off a big Sugar Bowl win versus Florida State. Mm-hmm. And I remember the pregame for that. And it makes me sad right now looking back on it in 2021, realizing how much bowl games meant back then. It wasn't just that you went to it. Back then, even if you weren't in the national championship, it meant something to go put on that G and play in a postseason game, especially the Sugar Bowl, man. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time Georgia was in the Sugar Bowl in 20 years or so. I think 82 was the last time they'd been to one.
Right.
So they would come here and win the SEC for the first time since 82. And then carry that excitement into New Orleans. And the people I was with down there, the adults, I was 9 at the time, of course, and you could just see the excitement that they've been waiting for this. They've gone through a decade of where Spurrier was at Florida, Fulmer at Tennessee, of just heartbreak after heartbreak. And then Coach Rick finally just breaks through. And the emotion on people that night in the Superdome in Louisiana was just like, it wasn't a national championship win,
right?
But you could just see like an elephant was just lifted off of them.
Yeah.
And from then on out, I think it's exploded into what we've seen out of Georgia football here since 2002.
Yeah.
And that was a special time, and something I always remember was that night in Louisiana, beating Florida State 26-13 in the Sugar Bowl that year. And that's really my first one that I realized, man, this is it. This is special.
I remember, speaking of that game, my memory, not very good. Adam, you're gonna understand this the more you listen to this. Adam's memory is fantastic. Like, it is phenomenal, and you'll get to see that more. But I do remember I used to have a little magazine. It was called, I don't know if it's a magazine, but something. It was essentially a magazine where it was Destiny's Dogs.
Yep.
You remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do.
And I remember looking through all those pictures and seeing that Sugar Bowl win there. But yeah, so I know what you're talking about. That was a good game.
Let's hear yours, Clark.
Man, I'm trying to think. I think my very first like Georgia football memory experience was the hobnail boot back in 2001. And now, correct me if I'm wrong. That was Rick's first SEC win, right?
I believe it was. Yes, okay. I mean, you go into because I know they got that season. You get beat by a Lou Holtz, South Carolina team early on, and God, that season there was a lot of games that got away. The Music City Bowl did that year in Nashville against Boston College, and the guy going up to Knoxville back then in 2001.
Oh yeah,
sure, it's like what it is now in 2021.
Well, yeah,
that was a game and an unbelievable feat. Beating a top-ranked Tennessee game.
Right. And, I didn't really understand the significance of that game. I just remember being my dad he was a coach, middle school coach way back when. And we were all huddled. You were there, were you not?
Yeah.
And we were all huddled together and watching that game on that TV. And I didn't really understand the significance other than that we just scored a touchdown and we beat Tennessee, a very good Tennessee team. But that did kind of set the tone for Rick's career, I think. And what was really cool was when we went in 2011 and Rick won his 100th game. So 10 years later, won in Knoxville. So I think that score was 20-12 or something. I don't know, something like that. But that was my first experience. And then first game I went to was, I believe, Georgia, Kentucky 03 or something. We sat up in the 300 level, and I remember Kentucky scored a touchdown, and a guy behind me yelled the S word, and I'm not going to say the S word in the hopes that, but he said the S word. I didn't know what that word meant at the time, so I asked my dad, what does S mean? He said, I think he said ship, and he pointed at the sky, and there was literally like an airplane, and I think it was one of the ones that was carrying the banner, that flies around Sanford. So that was... And I remember that, and then the Georgia Bulldog chant. That was about it.
Nothing like getting an education at a young age in San Diego State. I mean, that's one of the best places to take somebody and just get them brought into the world right.
That's right.
I mean, let them grow up right.
Yep.
That's exactly right. I love it. That's a great one. That's a good story.
So, talk about first memory. Let's talk about just significant experiences. I mean, overarching here. What is one moment that has just stood out to you in your Georgia Bulldog fandom? What's that one moment? And I think I could probably guess it, but and mine's probably the same. But I'm interested in hearing this. So,
January 1st, 2018.
Yes, sir.
I mean, in the Georgia fans' life, whether you were in Pasadena, California that night, or on your living room couch with the people you love the most, when you watch Sony Michel cross that goal line, or better yet, when he took that Wildcat snap and he rounded that corner, nothing but green grass in front of him. I mean, what was your thoughts then, man? I mean, you just knew. And I was sitting in the end zone that he was running towards, and I just picked up my wife and twirled her around. I mean, it was,
God bless our wives. I'm telling you, they probably get bruises and from just excitement, and we're just so excited, and God bless them. They are troopers.
What was so great about that night is I remember coming out, exiting the Rose Bowl and right outside the concourse of the stadium there, and the whole group that was with us in Pasadena that night, all just filtering out of their seats, and it was just like you were floating on a cloud.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it was like an out of body experience.
Yes,
seeing everybody come up, run, bear hug each other, and you just man, I mean, that's something you just go to your grave with that memory.
Absolutely,
right there. So yeah, it has to be that. The emotions of that game. I mean, at halftime, didn't think there was any way we're going to slow down Baker Mayfield and Oklahoma's offense. To coming out in the second half, getting your hopes up, coming back, taking the lead, tying, and then when Sonny Michel fumbled and they do the scoop and score, I thought that was it. At least we came back. But then, dang, the end of that game coming back like that, and the block field goal by Lorenzo Carter, man, it was something special. And
I agree.
And that's it. That tops it. I mean, there's others, but you can't bring that up with your favorite memory without
and especially for us, because we are younger, you know, and our parents, they got to see, you know, the 80s team with Herschel and those were good years, but and we've had a good, let's be honest, we've had a good 2 decades of Georgia football. I mean, good. If you're any other college football team, you'd be pretty satisfied, other than maybe Alabama. You would be satisfied with what we've done and the bowl games and the records. I mean, yes, we've obviously, the elephant in the room, we've not won the national championship. We're the laughing stock, you know. But
that's something we'll discuss. That's something we'll get to. But you're 100% right with that, Clark. Man, you look at that, and I talk about that night in New Orleans in 2002. Yeah. After that Sugar Bowl, from then on, what we've got to experience, you look at it, we're a blessed fan base.
We are. We're tortured at the same time, but you know,
I mean, we are. But if you look at the overall big picture of it and the experiences we've had, the wins we've had from them, and yes, I mean, golly, you want to forget about them, but you can't forget about some of those heartbreaking losses in Atlanta, primarily. That we've come across,
and not just in the bins, just in the bins, but also in the
old Georgia Dome too. Yeah, that's exactly right. But man, there's some good stuff ahead though.
Yeah,
I want to touch it.
So let me give you my favorite experience. It would have been the same thing. I mean, obviously, the Rose Bowl. That was a good one. You know, you got 2012 Georgia, Florida. That was, I don't know why, that was one of my favorite games of all time.
That was a special game.
It was just special. And, you know, I think Florida was criminally overrated at that point, I thought.
100%.
And then we came out there and
just
came out there and smacked them, not necessarily offensively, but defensively. And we made some play. And I don't know, that defense was special. I know, you know, under Grantham, there's some mixed feelings, but
Jarvis Jones had a game.
He did. Was it 4.5 sacks, or was that the year before, or something like that?
It was in the end where he popped the ball out and saved the game right there. And you go and you win that game 17-9. Right there, and it was special. But touching on that game, it was a big significant thing for it. Is that was the first time this century that we won 2 in a row in Jacksonville.
That is true. That's a good point. I mean, and that's kind of pathetic, but.
That was the significant about that game is, you know, we went on to win in 13 as well. And we've had the 3-year run that we've had here the past 3 of the past 4 years. But we won in 04, we won in 07, and then we won in 11 and 12. And that was the first time this century in Jacksonville that we won 2 in a row. So that was the big
deal. And that's kind of a pivotal moment if you really, I mean, if you think about it, you know, because then you start beating Florida, which, you know, 13, 14, 15, 16 Florida teams weren't great. We weren't necessarily either, but I do think, you know, that was the turning point for this rivalry. And we'll talk about that. You know,
we're gonna get to that.
We're just fired up already.
We have to tell about our Jacksonville special. We already got something special planned for the cocktail party, and on this podcast, it is going to be referred to as a cocktail party.
The cocktail party.
The world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
As it should be.
Nothing else besides that. 100%.
Let me ask you a quick question. I just want a brief answer here. Do you think if Texas and Oklahoma, as of the recording of this, they've not moved into the conference. Right. If they do you think that's going to shift everything around with home away schedules? Do you think we'll ever go to Jacksonville again?
I tell you, I don't. I think it kills that game, and I think there's a lot of mixed feelings in the Georgia fan base and some of the Georgia brass on that too. But I think it does. God, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the SEC. I've already seen some people kind of speculate that it would be broke up into 4 different pods.
Yeah, I saw.
You know, and I mean, like our pod would be Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and so on and so forth from there. And, you know, that's something we could dive into. And the stuff that this podcast is going to be revolving around is talk like that, just football talk.
Yeah.
But, man, I don't know. The traditionalist in me just thinks, God.
Yeah, I know.
Because your crossover game with Auburn every year is dead after that, too.
That's true. I mean, that's the Deep South's oldest rivalry.
No.
I mean, has that not been – I feel like that's the –
Oh, it's the longest rivalry in the Deep South. I think Virginia and North Carolina is the South's oldest rivalry.
Okay.
But Auburn and Georgia is the Deep South's oldest rivalry.
I didn't know the difference.
And I have been enjoying that rivalry here lately.
Oh, I have too. I mean,
it's been fun whooping up on them.
You see, I want to go ahead and just dive in, but we're going to save that for later. Man, I think that do we want to talk about anything else? Should we talk about our wives? Right quick.
Yeah.
And our family.
We need to introduce ourselves. Let people know our background.
That might be something we should have done at the get-go, but we're going to do it here nonetheless. So once again, my name is Clark Gaines. I'm from Franklin County. Adam is too. Married to my wife, Caitlin. We've been dating for, like 8 years or something. We both went to Georgia football games. She still goes with me. She is a trooper, so is Adam's wife. But our families will go. We will travel, and we love it. You know, it's good fun. It's good family fashion fun. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it is, man.
Golly, I love it. But so I just resigned as a teacher. I taught at a high school, and that was a job I loved. But I wanted to chase a dream that I've always had, and that's to own my own small business. So now I own a business called Gaines Productions. I do videography, I do photography, graphic design. So if I can ever help you out with any one of those things, you please let me know. I'd love to.
And absolutely excellent in it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's phenomenal.
But you know, and not teaching anymore does free me up for stuff like this. And this is stuff I've always wanted to get into and hash out. But that's kind of who I am. I do think I want to say this too. I'm not trying to brag or whatever, but I was a part of the team back in 15. And I think that's important to know because there will be some stories I'm sure I'll tell and some things, a couple of different insights. Now I'm no expert or whatever, but those were some good times that I had there. I was a student video manager. So we were out there any practice game, workout, whatever with the team. And I got to see a lot of Kirby Smart and his antics, and it's great. I mean, good stories upcoming, I'm sure. And so just want to give you all that little background. And then Adam, how about you tell us about you?
All right. Well, my name's Adam Thornton. My wife is Kelsey Thornton, and we have been married now for about 3.5 years. And our first football season together was the 2017 run. So, of course, I was like, that's a good luck charm right there. Yeah. You know, so we have definitely blessed, very, very, very excited about our future and what we have in store for us. And just happy to have her along this life journey with me. And my occupation is I work for a poultry company. I'm in the agriculture industry and service chickens. So basically spend every day on poultry farms throughout Northeast Georgia here. So, and my passion is Georgia football, man.
Yeah.
So getting to talk about this and everything is like we talked about earlier, something we've talked about for years and years and excited to live out this dream.
Yeah. Well, we are so very excited that you have decided to stick around and listen this long, if you even made it this far. Thank you. We do appreciate that, and hopefully we'll get to engage with you guys sooner rather than later.
One thing, too, I want to touch on before we end this is the name of our podcast.
Oh, yeah. Good gosh. I think we skipped over that. Golly, we did.
But
let's talk about, so row 60. I had somebody today say, does row 60 of like death row? I was like, no, come on now. It literally had on our logo, which I made that last night in a matter of hours, and
which is
I just kind of threw it together. But I appreciate it. I like it, but under the row 60, it does say a Georgia football podcast. So maybe I need to make that a little bit bigger text. But Adam, talk about row 60 because this applies, I guess, more to your family. And you and your experience as a Georgia fan, a little bit more so than me. So you go ahead and take the reins on this.
Row 60 is in reference to Section 108, Row 60 in Sanford Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
On the north side of the stadium, about on the 40-yard line, is the top row of the lower level, right underneath the overhang. And I prop up against the wall, and I've been sitting there on my uncle's tickets for, 20 years now or so. And really, can't describe how special it is, because there's people that sit around us there that you wait to get to every single year, and they're like a family to you. It's like a family reunion. That first home game is like a family reunion, and to catch up with them, and they've been there, and they've watched me grow up year after year. And Clark, you've been there too. They've watched you do the same, and there's been a lot of special memories made for family and friends sitting on that row.
Absolutely.
And watching. There's been heartbreaks, but there's been a lot of good times in there. So that's kind of what we're paying homage to. Row 60. That's it.
It's a great place to be. It's you don't get hot, you don't get rained on, or as hot, I should say. It gets August. Well, early September, it gets freaking hot in Athens, Georgia. But
that's right.
It's a great place. And Adam, and I want to mention this to the people, and we may get into some stories later on in some future podcasts, which I think we should.
We're absolutely
we got too many to share.
About.
Absolutely. And but there's a wall right at row 60. It is the last row in that section up at the very top, and there is a wall that Adam has. You've hurdled that, have you not?
Yeah. So one exciting time was 2017 season again, referencing it again.
Absolutely.
Mississippi State game. Everybody remembers it. Flea flicker, open up the offensive possession for Georgia. He hits Terry Godwin. Jake Fromm hits Terry Godwin, touchdown. And I don't know what, just something came inside of me like, I need to jump that wall.
Yes.
I need to get out to the concourse, and I need to sprint. I need to go find somebody to hug.
I'm
just
telling
get fired up.
There needs to be a reality TV show. There needs to be a camera on Adam Thornton. There needs to be a camera on Adam Thornton every single Georgia football game, and something that displays on the jumbotron. I think that'd be phenomenal.
I don't know about that. It would be embarrassing, some of the antics, but that's what makes it special, man. It's just you go to these games and you can forget about the world's problems.
Oh yeah.
For the few hours that you're there, and you can just dial in and focus on cheering on your team, and cheering on the dogs. And so, man, I can't wait for it.
It's going to be
Clemson.
We're weeks away. What's the official count?
The official count right now
of days
is we're 43 tonight.
Okay,
so it'll be 42 tomorrow.
All right. So the Justin Houston tomorrow.
That's it.
Get the jersey countdown going. I don't know who would 41 be. Do you have anybody?
41 right now would be Channing Tindall.
Yeah. 40. God, doesn't matter.
Hey, look, we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of. This is what we're going to touch on next episode. Is Kirby and his ability to manage the roster, and a lot of new guys coming in, a lot of young guys, a lot of guys that have been injured the past couple of years are going to be big parts coming up. So stay tuned for next episodes. We dive real deep into that.
Yes, we'll give you a season, preview. Not go too much depth. We're going to save that for the weeks upcoming, but we do want to kind of preview the season, break it down. Maybe go game by game, just briefly. Get some record predictions. Maybe who poses a threat to Georgia in the SEC. Playoff team predictions. We may even get into some hypotheticals. I love some good hypotheticals.
We're going to throw out some hypotheticals.
Oh yeah,
it wouldn't be a college football podcast.
It would not. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be. So we are fired up. We're once again so glad that you guys have decided to join us. I don't know how to sign off. I've never done this.
Hey, go dogs.
Go
and
dogs.
Be sure to hit that like button.
Hit the like
button.
Subscribe.
Bear with us. You're going to be with us. This is the inaugural episode of the Row 60 podcast. A lot of exciting things to come.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a lot on the agenda planned, like we've talked about. Bear with us. We're getting with it. We're ready to go, man. It's the best time of year. SEC Media Days is the official.
Right.
Official to me. It's unofficial, but to me, that's when I know it's time to get in the zone.
It's time to focus because look, this season is one giant business trip.
That's exactly right.
It's all business. And if you walk into that facility in Athens, Georgia, Butts-Mere, it's not Butts-Mere. Okay, it's Butts-Mere. And you go find Kirby Smart, I can guarantee you It is 100% business. He's locked in. He's focused. And the rest of that coaching staff is the same way. And the rest of those players, they're locked in. And so, dadgummit, as fans, we better be locked in. And we better show up in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Absolutely. So everybody just needs to go ahead and dust off the red and black.
Yes.
For those fans, get ready.
Yep.
Get loud. Go ahead and start putting them flags on the cars, man.
Oh,
go ahead and put some magnets on the cars. Go when you're in the grocery store and you see somebody wearing a G, ask them, give them a go, dogs. Ask them how they're feeling about the year.
How about them dogs?
Go bark in a Clemson Smoke's face if you see them. Where we're from, they're everywhere.
They are.
So it's time to. Right now, we're here at the end of July. That's when it's time to crank it on up a little bit.
Yep.
So everybody be sure to do that and get ready for it. And we got a lot of content coming.
Well, thank you once again for joining us. Be back. We'll release our next episode, I guess, on, 2 weeks from the recording of this. We will release our next episode on August 18th. Okay, so Wednesday, August 18th. We're going to try to get our podcast out each Wednesday. So be on the lookout. That's about it.
That's it.
Go Dogs. 42 days?
42 days until it's time to let the big dog eat, baby.
This is it. I think it would make me feel better if we had some kind of background chatter,
Yeah, a little back like we're in a sports bar.